Welcome to our channel. I'm really glad you're here. I'm Mike with Zippy Snap, and I hope we can craft a kinder, more creative world together. Today we're going to be making this 3D rainbow. Isn't that pretty cool? I like this because it just reminds me of how cool rainbows are, and it's a pretty nifty structure and it's a really good size. On the difficulty meter, I'd give this a 3 out of 5. This means that this is a medium craft. You can download this craft template from zippysnap.com. The tools we will be using today are scissors and tape. So with these tools nearby, let's get to crafting. So this is a little bit difficult just mainly because of the cuts. There's a lot of cutting, so we'll start by just cutting the edge, and you have a lot of these little fold markers. So you have a couple options. So what I like to do sometimes is maybe I'll just come out, do kind of a really quick cut so that way I can kind of get everywhere I need to cut. Since you see all of these little fold areas, it's a lot. It's a lot of fold areas, but it makes it a lot easier to put together because it's a curve, and paper is difficult to curve. So that's what makes this project a little bit difficult. So this part down here is going to be the bottom side of the rainbow, and it's going to be one of either the left or the right side. We'll choose once we cut it out. And you don't have to be perfect on these folds. It's okay if you overshoot. In fact, I'm going to do kind of a speed cut on this edge. And by speed, I mean use my scissors safely, but I'm going to do all these edges. They don't have to be perfect. So you see now I've kind of gotten all the edges of the folds. And I probably could have done that earlier. I'm going to leave the white on this one. I just, the paper just cuts off at the edges. I'm going to come again over here and do the same on this side of the rainbow. So now we have all of that. And now we're going to kind of have to come in and cut right along here to get this rainbow. What's the coolest time that you've seen a rainbow? I know oftentimes rainbows are when it's raining. That's why they're called rainbows. But sometimes you can see it even when it's a sunny day and it's slightly drizzling and you see the rainbow. And I always enjoy seeing a rainbow because it brightens my day. It brings me a little joy when it's a little cloudy outside, and it's unexpected, quite honestly. I don't often see rainbows too often. They're a little hard to see and they have to be in the right lighting. So when you do see one, they're really a good chance to see it, and they're sometimes hard to photograph. I don't know if you've ever tried to photograph a rainbow or take a picture of them. They're difficult because the lighting, it has a lot to do with the lighting. The other thing I like about rainbows is that there's just so many colors. You get to see all the colors. And like people, there's just so many different people in the world. It's just good to be reminded that there's so many different people, ways of thinking out there that you shouldn't be afraid of. And you can always think of a different solution. So when you're having a trouble trying to maybe solve a problem, you can think of it from a different way. That's one of the good things I like about rainbows, is it just reminds me that there's not just always one solution. Otherwise, you just see a blue rainbow or a purple rainbow. There's lots of solutions. And that gets me through the day, knowing that there's lots of ways to do things. And you see there's a fair amount of fold cuts on this rainbow. And it does make it a little bit challenging to do, but it does help it helps it align so that the rainbows tie together a little bit easier. So that's a lot of this craft. It's just taking a little bit of patience, which is also a thing to watch for rainbows. It's just taking a little bit of time out of your day when you do see one to think, wow, that's an amazing rainbow to see. You're not always going to get to see a rainbow. It's almost like I saw a solar eclipse a few years back, and you don't get to see them every day. And I think the next one I'll see is in over 10 years, I think, maybe closer to 20. So it was super special to be able to see that solar eclipse, and it's super special to see a rainbow. It's been a while since I've seen a rainbow, actually. So we're going to just keep cutting. You see, I'm almost done with this, but be safe, you know, always use your scissors safely. Don't get in a rush. We're not in a rush. And it's okay to have white on these fold edges. You just want to get the edge of the rainbow to be, and you see I kind of overshot there, and that's fine. So we have one more. And we do have these cool little badges. So once if you want to see kind of what it's going to look like, there's a little photo there on the badge. You can put the badge together. It just folds together. And if you ever have to get rid of your rainbow one day, it's a good little reminder of, hey, I built this rainbow this one time, and that's what it looked like. And just a little reminder. Because there's a lot of things I've built that I can't keep. I don't have enough space for it. And so I like to have a little photograph, a little reminder. So that's a little photograph. It stores in a small space. Just to say, hey, I built that. That was fun. Maybe you write down some things you learned from it. Now the real question, and I probably should have said this earlier, is what do you think? What is your favorite color? What is it even on this rainbow? I can tell you my wife's favorite color is not on this rainbow. It's a combination of colors from the rainbow, but it's not on this rainbow. Not the one I just made. My favorite color is on the rainbow. So which one's yours? And has it changed? Has your favorite color ever changed? I don't know. You know, a lot of times people get favorite colors and they keep it for their whole lives. Mine, I've had it for my whole life. I've never changed it. Mine has been, can you guess it? It's a fruit as well, if that helps. It's an orange. Orange is my favorite. My wife's favorite, though, is pink. She loves pink. Now I'm trying to think. I don't think I even know what my parents' favorite colors are. I should ask them when I see them next. We made some cards and some other videos that we've done. Maybe I'll write them a card and say, hey, what's your favorite color? I was thinking about a rainbow and how many colors are. What's your favorite color? Because it's always, rainbows have so many colors and they're so unique, and everyone has a different color that they love, they enjoy. And you don't really know what their color is unless you ask. You gotta ask people, what's your favorite color? You gotta get to know them. Sometimes if you got too much sheet of paper kind of going with you, you just cut it off. Just keep going. So you feel like this is a little bit of a hard craft because it has a lot of cutting. I understand. It's not difficult to do. It just takes a little bit of time to do it. I know I'm taking a little bit of time, but I want to make sure my rainbow's pretty. Because rainbows, I want to do it justice. Rainbows are just so pretty. I got the idea of, I don't know if you want to know how I got the idea of doing a rainbow was in another video I had rainbow ice cream. And I thought, rainbow ice cream, that's good. So I made some ice cream cones, some ice cream scoops out of paper and tape. And I said, we should do rainbows, real rainbows. Because rainbows are so just unique. Here's a question for you, and I don't know the answer, but I'm going to ask. Can you have a rainbow underwater? So if you're like swimming in the ocean, let's say it's a very clear ocean, because where I live, the ocean is not clear. You can't see very far. But if you live somewhere where there's a clear ocean, do you think fish can see the rainbows under the water? I know you can see them when they touch the water, but can you see them underwater? I don't know the answer to that. I was thinking no, but I feel like sometimes you get some interesting underwater photos. All right, so these are our two rainbow sections. So now we're going to do the connection sections. So these are the tops and the bottoms. So the purple is the bottom and the red is the top. So it just follows the color of our rainbow. Since the bottom of our rainbow is purple, we put purple. And you may have to adjust them to your size of the rainbow. Sometimes we make them a little larger than they need to be. So there's the purple, and let's do the red. Red's a great color. It's very close to orange, which is my favorite color. It's a strong color, but sometimes I feel like red can be taken out of context, because a lot of times you think of red as angry, but red's just a bold color, which is, it could also be that you know what you're doing. A lot of companies have red logos. Their businesses are in red. And so I really like red, but I think sometimes it's not given a fair opportunity. So now what we're going to do is, before we put these on, is we're going to fold all these edges. So we're just going to come around and just fold them. That's how this rainbow is going to match up really nicely. So we're coming around on each of these little edges, just folding them down. So you see. So we're creating a place where this is going to tape to the edges. And then the bottom right here, we're going to fold as well. That's going to be our bottom of our rainbow. And then we're just going to keep folding. It doesn't take too long to fold these, but this helps it, since paper's straight, this helps it kind of do that curve. You want your rainbow to have a curve to it, because rainbows curve. And you see, you can also fold it down like this. You just kind of pinch it right under. And because we did all the cutting, this folding makes it really simple. So you kind of do a little bit of hard work at the beginning to get a big reward afterwards. That's how it is in life. Sometimes you work hard and then you get the big reward later. All right, so we have two pieces. You see, they're all folded. And we're going to choose one. So I'll choose this one. I'm going to start with this bottom piece of the rainbow, which is the purple piece. And we're just going to line it up. So I'm going to put a piece of tape here, and I'm going to line it up so that it touches my rainbow. I'm having a little bit of difficulty, so I'm going to put it like this and fold that edge over. And then we'll just keep so you want to kind of make it go that direction, and you want to line those two pieces up as closely as you can. And then we're just going to take the piece of tape, so it's helpful to be on a flat surface, as you can see. And we're just taking that piece of tape, and we're going to just keep taping. So I'm just taping those tabs to the bottom side of the rainbow, so that way you kind of see it's starting to pull together and tape. The lower you tape it, so if you tape it a little further down towards the base here of the tab, the more close that rainbow will become, so you won't have that opening. So it takes a little bit of work to make sure that those two line up, but it's worth it. All right, so now we have half a rainbow. So before we do the other side, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start this side here. So we're going to do the same thing, but on the red side this time. Or actually, you know what? We'll do the red last, because otherwise we'll get caught, I think. It'll make it a little harder to assemble it. So we're going to now come and do this side. So it's going to be a little hard to see, because really you want to sit it down, but I'm not going to sit it down so you can see it from above. We're going to bring that in here, and we're going to just join those two, just like that. And bring that, put the tape real down on that base if you can. And you want to just put that tape right in there, like that. And I'm going to stand it up so you can see. I recommend you use the table for it, but I'm just going to try to give you a good camera angle, since it's a little hard to show what I'm doing if I leave it flat down. So I wouldn't recommend you hold it. I would just leave it kind of on the table like I had it earlier. But that's what we're looking for. It's just putting the tape on the tabs and putting it on the back side of that rainbow piece. And this is our last one here. There we go. So we're going to leave these open on the edge right now, but we have the bottom of the rainbow. That's pretty nifty. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come in and start the red piece. So we want to come, and I'm going to start it right here. And it's easier to put the tape on the tab and then have that flip up. That's a little hard for me to see, but that's kind of what you're looking for to do. Hopefully you're able to see more than I'm seeing, because it's a small workspace. All right. And while we're doing that, so don't get too far ahead. So I started getting I got excited. I was starting to see a rainbow. I was getting excited. I was like, oh, we're gonna have a rainbow. We're gonna do the other side. So we want to do the sides together at the same time. So that way you can join it without it starting to close off. So we're gonna put this there, fold that back under, because you'll need to be able to access the rainbow. So you can always access the rainbow from underneath that tab we haven't closed off yet. And then you can also come right here. So this is why I said don't close it off. We want to be able to do both of them at the same. Do one, then do the other. So we'll do this one. Line that up on the outside here with that edge. Do this one. And you may not feel like this is a medium challenge. It's on the harder side of medium, just because of the amount of holding you're having to do. But it's not a difficult task. It's not a difficult craft. It's just it does take a little bit of effort, because you're trying to get the paper just right. So you see I did this one, so now we're going to come over here and do this one. So you don't want to get too far ahead, because otherwise you're going to not be able to get your fingers in there. Maybe you have smaller hands than I have and you're able to get in there, but for me, that's the way. Now I'm going to do the whole tab. So you see this is the top center. I'm doing the whole tab because we're going to join it in with the other one. So do a little extra big piece of tape here, because that's the top of this one right there, and that will be our beginning of this piece. So we're going to put that right there. And now we're going to come in and we're going to go one tab by one tab. One by one. So let's put this tab down. And there we go. This is why you're doing one side, then the other side. Because it's a little difficult. Curved paper, it's always difficult. So we did that. So we did this side over here. So now I'm going to take this tab over here. There we go. And kind of keep an eye on your paper. You might pop it up at this point because it's starting to get a little flat for me, because we want that paper to curve. And it's okay if it's going to overhang the edge. It's okay if it goes over, because we can always trim it up as we get down there. And then we got this one. And we're alternating still. Just trying to line those edges up and then push that tape up over there. What's amazing about this is really just 4 sheets of paper, but the 4 sheets of paper get really strong once you put the tape on, and it all comes together. So it's not, I mean, it's strong for paper, but it's not the the curve helps kind of, and these tabs help really support it, the rainbow. So it gets strong for just a single sheet of paper. You see, we have a little bit of an overhang here. That's fine. I'm going to just trim mine off. That's not a problem. And then on these bottoms, I'm just going to put them together. I didn't quite get that exactly perfect, but that's okay. And then I'm going to put an edge piece over here just to hold the rainbows together. And same with this one. The edge piece there, just to give it a little bit more support. And then that piece will go here, that piece will go there. And again, I'm going to just put a little edge piece here. And ta-da! We have our rainbow. Isn't that pretty nifty? It's a nice three-dimensional rainbow. Thank you so much for crafting with me today. I hope it brought you joy and helped your creativity grow. Always remember, you matter and you are valued. I look forward to creating our next craft together very soon. Goodbye.